Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I'm just going to go over the questions that are going to be on your little mini quiz today, just as a little review. So you're going to have a question that looks like this. It gives you a triangle, and the triangle is going to be labeled something like A, B, C. It'll be a right triangle, and it will also give you the measures of all the sides. So 3, 4, 5, something like this. And the question will say, find the sine of A, find the cosine of A, and find the tangent of A. So how do you do this? Well, the key on this one is to remember what these ratios mean. Sine, cosine, tangent are comparing different sides of the triangle. Now, the sides that it compares are called the hypotenuse, the opposite, and adjacent. So we have to label those here on our triangle. So we're going to label the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is the longest of the three sides of a triangle, and it's also the one that's directly across from that 90-degree angle. So 5 here, we're going to label that hyp, short for hypotenuse. The next side we label is called the opposite side. Now the opposite side is the side opposite the angle we are talking about. Here we're talking about the angle A, so I'm looking at A, and now from the perspective of A, think of this as one arm reaching down and another arm reaching down, and those two arms are reaching across to embrace the opposite side here, so that 4 is the opposite side. It's the one across opposite the angle A. So we've got across from, and we're going to call this our reference angle. A is our reference angle because it's the angle that the question is asking us about. It's asking us about A, so we say from the perspective of A, 4 is the opposite side. And then finally, the last one is the adjacent side, and adjacent side is just whatever is kind of left over. Okay, so again, hypotenuse is the longest side. It's the side across from your 90-degree angle. Your opposite side is across from the A, the farthest one from the A. And then your adjacent is the other leg here that makes that angle. Okay, so we've labeled the sides, hyp, op, and adjacent. Now what do we do? Well, now we got to remember sine, cosine, tangent. These are just ratios of the different sides. So sine is comparing the opposite with the hypotenuse. Cosine is comparing the adjacent with the hypotenuse. And tangent is comparing the opposite with the adjacent. Okay, so now let's apply that here to our question. For sine, the opposite is 4, and the adjacent, actually sine is opposite and hypotenuse. So opposite is 4, and hypotenuse is 5, so the sine of A is 4 over 5. The cosine of A, cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 3 over 5. And finally, the tangent is the opposite, which is 4, over the adjacent, which is 3. Okay, so let's do another question just like this. This one I want you to do on your own. Try it on your own really quick. Okay, so we got this triangle. Actually, let's draw it out kind of like this. So let's say this is 12, this is 5, and this is 13, and we're going to call this A, B, C. And the question here is asking for sine, cosine, tangent of, let's choose B for fun. So sine B, cosine B, tangent B. So go ahead and draw this out on your desk or on a sheet of paper, pause the video, and answer it. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to pause this video and give it a try. So sine is op over hyp, cosine is adjacent over hyp, and tangent is op over adjacent. Now we got to label the sides of our triangle here. So 13, this is our longest side. 13 is the biggest measure here, so we're going to label this hyp. Now, to find the opposite, we are talking about B. B is our reference angle, so you're standing at B. This angle, or sorry, this line and this line, those two lines form angle B. And I'm looking across opposite that, and so 12 is my opposite side, and then 5 is my adjacent. Okay, so now we can fill this in. Opposite is 12, hypotenuse is 13. Cosine is adjacent, my adjacent is 5, hypotenuse is 13. Tangent is opposite, which is 12 over adjacent, which is 5. And we've got our three ratios. Let's just do one more example here. Let's say I've got something like this. And let's say this is 30, 40, and 50. And let's call this side A, B, C. Okay, so sine, cosine, tangent. Go ahead and pause the video and answer that. Oh, actually, you can't pause it yet. I haven't told you which angle. Let's choose angle A. Now you can answer these. So pause the video, answer these questions. Okay, so from the perspective of A, this is our hype, this is our op, and this is our adjacent. Again, we're looking at A, and across from A is our opposite side. Okay, sine is opposite, which is 30 over hypotenuse 50. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over adjacent. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, the other question on the test is just a calculator question. It's super straightforward. As long as you can use a calculator, then you're good to go. The question is going to be something like this. Find the sine of 35. So to do this, just go to Desmos Scientific Calculator and just literally type in sine 35. And it wants the answer rounded to the nearest hundredth. That means 2 decimal places. So let's go do this. Sine 35. Let's go into Desmos Scientific. And so we're just going to type in sine 35. And it gives us this number, 0.5735. 0.5735 and a bunch of other things. It says here to round this to the nearest hundredth. That means to that place. So it's going to be 0.5. It's either going to stay the same 7, or it's going to get rounded up to 8. I've got to decide, does that 7 stay a 7 or does it get bumped up to 8? Now to do that, I have to look at this one right here. Because that's less than 5, it's not enough to bump up the 7. So it's going to keep that a 7. So 0.57 is what you would type in. So try this one on your own. Cosine 32. Okay, so let's type this into Desmos. Cosine 32. And that gives us 0.848 and change. So 0.848 and change, we're rounding it to the 10th place. So it's going to be 0.8, either 0.84 or it could be 0.85. Now because of this number right here, that's enough to bump it up. So it's closer to 0.85 than it is to 0.84. So 0.85 is what you type in. Okay, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Good luck. I'm sure you'll all do fantastic.